already know. Yeah. We're live. I want to thank everybody that came out. Come check us out. We live.
We're getting those terminal degrees, those JDs, MD, PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out-earning men yes. in 22 of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, DC, LA, you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it, if he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver.
What's up, Facebook? What's going on, Facebook? Man, I just wanted to play that clip with Iyanla Vanzant. And Ebony K was having a conversation, and there's a controversy of Ebony K's words when she mentioned that she will not date a bus driver, and if he owned the bus, she would date that man. I believe that what happened was taken out of context, and what she said was taken out of context. And as an individual, I understood the shade in which the perspective in which she was coming from. She was talking about black men. And of course, we know that black women in America, they are the most educated women in the country. And they have earned more earning potential than we do. But what Iyanla Vanzant was alluding to, that, she would date a bus driver because she sees the potential in that man. But Ebony K was just reiterating that she just don't want our people just to stop and have low expectations and just want to be a bus driver, but we should have aspirations of owning a bus. And the woman is a lawyer. Miss Ebony K is a lawyer. I looked at some of the clips of her. And another thing that's what's striking about Ebony K is that her father didn't raise her. So her father was absent in her life. So her lens and perspective of black men is of that she really wants to see black men, elevate and accept more than what we accepted. So I had to play that clip really to just to lens in and laser in on that comment, because it was over 50,000 comments. What she said about not dating a bus driver, but it was really out of context. She was saying that we shouldn't, as a people, just take any old just mediocrity, and we should excel with the best. And she said the men that were having no offense with it, they were making C's and D's in school. So they were not the individuals that, those are the ones that got offended. And, she's not going to apologize. She's 10 toes down. But I understood the perspective where she was coming from. Sometimes, the delivery of things and how it hurts. But we say things about, black women that are true. And it can hurt. And it's some perspective, and truth is not always comfortable. Black, what's going on?
What's that? And I'm just listening to this rhetoric, this bullshit you trying to feed these people. How y'all doing? No. I'm just saying.
Truth is not
the
always.
Bullshit that she feeding them. That's bullshit. She meant what she said, and she tried to clean it up, bro.
Yeah, no. She said she meant what she said. She wasn't cleaning nothing up.
And
she stood on what she said.
Yeah, she stood on what she said, but she threw parables in there so it won't look bad as she meant it to look. She said, would you date a bus driver? She said, yeah, if he owned the bus.
Yeah.
Ain't shit wrong with no damn bus driver. That means she belittling the man who drives the bus. And that might be his side hustle.
Right.
That may be his side hustle. I know a guy that used to be an ambassador who had a real job working at the mill, but he drove buses. He dropped kids off in the morning as a bus driver, and he worked graveyard at the mill.
But
so when he got out of work,
personal experience.
So what?
She was speaking on her own personal experience.
That's her own personal experience. But on the same note, it ain't necessarily her job to belittle somebody who drives a bus.
She wasn't belittling nobody because her mother was a bus driver. If you look at the rebuttal statement, her mother was a bus driver, so she wasn't belittling anybody. She just was saying in so many words that black men as a whole, we as a people need to stop accepting scraps and accepting mediocrity. That's why. That's what I
okay. We gonna roll with.
Black. Jay, did you see the clip of Ebony K?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, what you thinking, Jay?
Well, it's like this. Like when she came back talking about my mama was a bus driver, that's just like saying my best friend is black.
Right.
It's just something that you're putting out there to cover up what you actually mean. Yeah, actually what you said. Right. So everybody can't be a doctor. Everybody can't be 100+ a year. The world just doesn't work like that. Right. Now, if you say that your preference is this, that, and whatnot, hey, that's your preference.
That's different.
But to put down someone because of a job that they're doing that is necessary for the world to keep turning, their survival, and for the world to keep turning, then I don't see why you would pick a drug dealer over a hardworking man. You know what I'm saying? Just because this drug dealer is making temporary money.
And on that note, though, with her, she gets the middle finger for me on that bullshit. That was bullshit.
So you think she was just trying to put out fires?
Bullshit. Yep.
She was just trying to put out fire.
The reason I say that is she had time to think about the question, because she was asked the question repeatedly like 3 times, and she sat there.
Mm-hmm.
She sat there. Yeah, if he owned the bus.
Right.
So the fact that she said if he owns the bus,
and a lot of people don't own no bus. It's just the average man ain't owning no bus. It's just what it is. And it's unrealistic. I mean, she said she's going on 40 years old and have not found a man yet in her life that really just has some staying power. She said the men that she did, deal with, they would tell her, on a date, you need to put up the court. You need to put that lawyer up right now when you're on a date. You don't know when to turn that off. So, and you can see from that in the context of the interview with Ayanna Van Zandt, she's heavy. She got a heavy hand. You know what I'm saying? Because she's a lawyer.
And not really, not trying to, not saying at all.
No.
But many of the Black women that I have met, that I have been around, personal friends of mine, fall victim to that when they educated and have a little authority or feel like they comfortable with their living, they tend to overstep their authority. They tend to somewhat look down without looking down. They some of them may not notice it, but they tend to look down on people that they feel less than them because they feel like they're educated.
Right.
You can many Black women that's get in supervisor positions, get in lawyer positions, head RNs. They have people under them. If you talk to people that work under them, they'll tell you they misuse their authority because they try to be too authoritative. You know what I'm saying? They too you don't when you clock in, you need to clock in not 3 minutes before, not 4 minutes before, but on time. And all that they extra. But when they were coming up and they had a supervisor, they didn't like the way the supervisor was handling them. But when they get in that position, a lot of them like that. And I guess because and the most of the ones that's like that are the ones that came from nothing and feel like they have something now. Majority.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they've never had that I don't want to say authority, but they didn't have that type of power in their life. So now that they have power in their lives and in their hands, then they're like, oh, well, I used to be nothing. So now I got this power. So I'm going to show you what it feels like or what I felt like growing up. So they're kind of projecting that they're what they grew up through and what they grew up to. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. I work for Black women, and their management style, their rules is different from men. Not to be chauvinistic, I don't mind, following authority regardless. But it's like Black women, they carry a lot of trauma sometimes inside their leadership. And when they're in a position of authority over a man, they can try to make you feel like that you're less than. They want to be by the book when it comes to certain people.
And their defense,
a lot of them show favoritism. Do they want to show favoritism to cover up a lot of stuff? When I meet, Black women as professionals, they heavy-handed. They act like men. They, when they talking, they it gotta be a show with it instead of just having a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Even when they're dealing in multi-level marketing, sales, different things, when they within that vein, it's a whole that Black women, they carry a whole different spirit. White women don't even act like that. I've seen white women do presentations. I didn't work with white women. White women have been over me to, working and stuff. They don't act like that. They still have a level of femininity, but you know, it's like black women is trying to stick it to you based
Yeah.
on see Ebony K, you could tell if you listening to the conversation, her father wasn't there. So her father wasn't there, and the men in her life kind of abandoned her. So now she got a position of being an attorney. Now she can show how smart she is, what she want. She ain't selling. She says she ain't selling for less, and she won't. And she gonna get it. She not gonna
And that's
depend on
why
no
she
man.
by herself.
All right, she's not gonna depend on no man to get it. She gonna get it herself, is what she said.
But I've been in meetings talking with HR about situations, and had a lady to tell me that's in HR because I'm voicing my opinion. Oh, you have a problem taking authority with a woman. It ain't the fact that I got a problem taking authority with a woman, but you're not gonna talk to me any kind of way, and you're not gonna belittle me just because you're in a little position. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, when a lot of times when our black women get in positions, they show their ass. They don't know how to act, and you know.
So I mean, I've had the opposite experience. I haven't had that type of experience where they've been heavy-handed or tried to, you know, belittle me if they're in a position that's higher than mine. I haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm likable. I don't know.
But
But
like I said, she wasn't a belittle. She just heard me voicing my opinion on the situation. She said, "Oh, okay, I can see you. You got a problem. You gonna have a problem taking authority from a woman." I guess because I have a dominating personality, and I guess since I stepped in the room and voiced my opinion the way I did, instead of walking around with my tail between my legs, just accepting whatever the hell they say. Oh, so I see right now you're gonna have a problem accepting authority. No, I'm just an authority figure my damn self, and you just ain't gonna talk to me any kind of way. I'm not just gonna be no go get coffee type of person. That's just not me. We gonna be both respectful in this motherfucker. I got education just like you got. I'm just starting here. You've been here 12 years. So, you know what I'm saying? Give me 2 years and I had your damn job. So it was more of a they feel like I'm coming to take their job or something. So, you know, that's it wasn't a belittle type deal on that aspect. She was just saying that I can just tell you're gonna be that type of man to have a problem with a woman being in authority. I ain't messed up by that. Just pay me what I'm worth and treat me with respect.
Right.
Yeah, that's me.
Right. And even for me, even just to add on to what Jay was saying,
I don't know what's up with this phone.
Is that, you know, I was the one to question. You know what I'm saying? I was the one not to, you know, go along to get along type person. So if I didn't want to do something and if it wasn't against company guidelines, I didn't do it because it was a culture that was at the job. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. It was a culture that was at the job that I didn't want to be a part of. So being the outsider, you know, you're going to feel like that. You're going to bump heads. Eventually, I got terminated because I saw, you know, I'll speak up at the risk of my own, you know, own employment. And that's what I did. But, you know, I always been outspoken and, you know, I just didn't let nobody do what they want to do. So. But,
yeah, and you shouldn't. And
yeah.
and I don't know.
But I
It
had to
seems
learn
like
the way that I had to, not to cut you off, but I had to learn how to say things and not be so direct. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I had to learn
right.
how to say
So
things.
yeah, just learning how to speak in that corporate lingo or that corporate way. So I mean, because whenever I go to a company, I'm always like a leader or placed in a leadership type position, even though I'm not in that role. You know what I'm saying? So people come to me for advice and look for me to stand up for the group. You know, even with just coming in new, because I'm just that type of person.
Right.
And I know how. And you know, as the some folks would say, he speaks well. He speaks well.
Right.
So you know, so I know how to talk.
Right.
And
So
some woman, you would get that woman that came from nothing, and she'll see you as a threat.
A lot of them, I mean, a lot of them do, but
Mhm.
I can make them feel comfortable. I make them feel comfortable in their position and not let them see me as a threat. Even if I am, I wouldn't be. I mean, even if I am gunning for their position in the future, they would never know it.
Right.
So
Sneaky.
Sneaky. Yeah, man. Sneaky.
I'm echoing. Hold on.
Yeah. So so with that, man, that's what we were dealing with on that. And I just wanted to deal with Ebony K for a second. We kind of, I'm kind of refining entertainment news and just what's going on, and just try to provide some information. I don't know if they're gonna edit that clip, because I don't own the rights to that clip. So I just want to make that clear. So tonight,
give me 1 second.
yeah, go ahead. Tonight, Facebook, YouTube, man, we dealing with something that's real. We dealing with the practice of polyamory. We're dealing with the practice of polyamory.
Hey, I got a question though before we get into that. Did you get an update on Jamie Foxx?
No, Jamie Foxx was still he's still in the condition that he's in. So
Yeah, like I said, I think it's some fishy foul play going on there, bro.
nothing changed. They ain't really released nothing. When we talked last week on the statement he made, and that was basically it. So that's what that was.
It's some fishy going on, but we're gonna sit and ride it out. I'm trying to figure out why I'm delayed. Am I sounding delayed to you?
No. You got another device, because I see it in the green room. You got another device going on that you need to click off that device and get off.
What is the device saying?
It just got both of you. You own two devices. You either on a phone or you on a computer. One of them. I know you're on your phone now, but it's another device here that you froze on, and you got to kick yourself off. Now come back on, Black. You got to come back on this one.
What about now?
Yeah, you good.
No, I feel like I'm still echoing.
Now I know it. Yeah, because you got this. You got that on. You need to turn that off. The Black. There you go.
All right, what's that? I'm still hearing the echo.
You got to turn that all the way off. You got to kick it off.
I deleted it. Hold on.
You got to leave. It got to leave the room.
Let me see.
That. All right. Yeah. So this one
it
here.
Keep popping up.
No, this is you. The one that's the undelayed one. The one that's delayed is froze. You need to kick that off.
Where is it?
I don't know what you got. See, this is
okay.
There.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get rid of him. This one right here.
Yeah, just go all the way out with it. You gotta take it out of the room to do it.
When I hit remove from stream.
No. Don't remove yourself. Remove the one with the black on there. The black screen.
Whatever. Still echoing. What I'm gonna do?
Right. Go all the way out. Go all the way out the room.
Are you running yourself on Facebook and are you in the stream? Can't hear you.
Okay. You muted yourself.
Man, it's crazy. Now I'm echoing. I think I'm gonna reboot or something.
Yeah, you need to go ahead and reboot, bro.
So run a couple more news things. There's a lot of stuff going on. 50 Cent got his own studio thing. Hip hop celebrating 50. LL finna go on tour.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to reboot this damn thing.
Yeah, because it looked like it's cutting up on that. But anyway, yeah, Jeff, we gonna get it. We gonna get this thing together and make that happen. But anyway, at any rate, we gonna get that thing. Yeah, 50 Cent got his got a whole new 95. I think it's let me see how many square feet it is. This is 95. I think he spent $500,000, or the square footage of that is 95,000 square foot for a studio. Now that'd be powerful for him to have something like that for G Unit Films and television show. Of course, we know that he did Power, so he's doing his thing. 50 Cent right here. He purchased a massive 985,000 square foot studio space to expand his G Unit Film and Television company. So that's powerful. Of course, we know about Ghost. We know about Power and all that good stuff. So, Jay, you do the Power?
Yeah,
You listen to Power? Yeah. So he, having that independent. How you doing? How you doing, Shauna Brooks? Having the Power studio, and having your television studio is what's up. And I salute Black people because we really not dependent on the white man really to do anything for us now. And that's a good thing that we evolving and we learn to do things on our own. We're not trying to sign the labels. We're doing a lot of independent stuff. So that's a good thing on our end, is to do something, that'd be, beneficial to us. So 985,000 square foot, that's enough for a big studio.
Yeah, he's doing it like Tyler Perry.
Like Tyler Perry. So that's gonna be a excellent thing, man.
Proud of that brother.
50 Cent. And I like 50 Cent. Personally, I like 50 Cent. I like 56 business acumen. 56 50 Cent cut up. He know how to troll you. He's excellent at trolling somebody. And I like him. But as far as his business acumen and who he is as a person, I like him. I like him as a person. You know what I'm saying? Because he take care of his business. And I like that.
Yeah, he speaks his mind, man.
Yeah, he's speaking his mind. And with Jamie Foxx, no, nothing has changed. He made that statement last week. And he was they said he was hospitalized. The family ain't really saying too much. But
and like I said, that's why I say it's some weird shit going on with that 50. I mean, with that Jamie Foxx situation.
Right.
It's weird. But we're not gonna go in depth this week.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it take a turn for the worse, like the Tupac deal did, and Jamie up out of here. So don't be surprised. I'm just saying.
Right.
Because it's just odd that he'd have been in there damn near a month, and it went from he responding to pray for him. It took a turn for the worse. It's just too much weird, and hadn't nobody seen it. So I'm skeptical on that. So
right.
But what y'all talking about tonight? What's the topic?
Well, we dealing with polyamory. It said, is polyamory the answer for modern day relationships?
I just know it's popular right now. I don't know if it's the answer, but I know it's hella popular right now.
Well, let's look at polyamory and polygamy and the differences. Mm-hmm. Polyamory and polygamy. Polyamory definition. Polyamory is the practice of engaging in multiple sexual relationships with the consent of all people involved. Polygamy is the practice of having more than one wife or husband, but that's polyandry, when a woman had more than one husband. Marriage. Polyamory is not associated with marriage. Polygamy is associated with marriage. Religion is not associated in a religion. Polyamory is not mentioned nowhere in the scripture, nowhere in the Holy Quran, nowhere in the Bible. Strongly associated in religions. Age for polyamory. It's a modern concept. This is a new concept. Polygamy is an ancient concept. Gender. Polyamory may include both homosexual and heterosexual relationships. Polygamy includes heterosexual relationships, i.e., a man with several wives or women with several husbands. This is the definition of polyamory: is the practice of having open sexual romantic relationships with more than one person at a time with the consent of all parties involved. Some describe it as consensual, ethical, and responsible. Non-monogamy people who believe in polyamory reject the view of sexual and rational exclusivity are essential for long-term relationships. Instead, they believe in open relationships. Polygamy is the practice of having more than one spouse at a time. There's a main categories in polygamy and polyandry. Polygamy is the practice of having more than one wife, whereas polyandry is the practice of more than one husband. Monogamy, which is associated with wife, one husband, is the opposite of polygamy. Monogamy is the commonly accepted matrimonial practice in many countries. 2% of people in the world practice polygamy. 2% of people in the world practice polygamy. What they call the hold on one second. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. What they call polygamy, the polygamy belt is here in was practiced. It says it's a common known polygamy belt in West Africa, Central Africa, where the country is estimated to have the highest polygamy prevalence in the world, being Burkina Faso, Mali, Gambia, Niger, and Nigeria. These are the places in the world. In America, polygamy, over 60,000 people practice and are engaged in a polygamous relationship. So we're gonna talk about it tonight, dealing with polygamy and polyamory. Polyamory is something that I just heard of. That was something new. I've always heard of polygamy. In Islam, being a Muslim in Islam, polygamy is practiced under certain conditions. Polygamy is practiced, and it's called a necessary evil. Polygamy is practiced when there's an imbalance in society, like you got now. You got women outnumbering the men 11-1 or 17-1 in some cases. And with polygamous relationships, it don't have majorly nothing to do with sexual relationships. It's more or less covering down for your brother that's been killed during the time of the prophet, peace be upon him. A lot of the men that died in the war establishing Islam, they died, but they left behind women and children. So the men that survived, they took charge in reference and covered down for their brother by taking care of their wives and their children, so the wives won't fall into prostitution or the children won't become orphans. So in Islam and in that sense, it's engaged. But once the society is corrected and there's a balance in society, then you move away from polygamous relationships. But polyamory is something that's a new concept that is really is an open relationship. David, what you thinking, man?
I've been in the polyamory lifestyle. I can't even say lifestyle because it's not a lifestyle. It's a way of loving, not a way of living.
Right.
I've been polyamorous for about 10 years now.
Okay.
And the mindset for me is mentally, I think I've been polyamorous longer than actually practicing it, because I've always felt that this like monogamy just doesn't fit for me. Like,
right.
I don't understand why I have to only love one person, or why I can only show affection for one person. Where is this written? Why do I have to go along with what the societal standard is supposedly is?
Right. And just to add to what you're saying is that I know in Islam, in the scripture, Muslim men, they are, and this is open. This is no secret.
David, what's that?
Hey,
Muslim
how's it
men,
going? How's it going?
Muslim men can take up to 4 wives, but we're encouraged to have one wife. If you fear that you're not going to be equitable to those women, is to take one because it's better for you. Now, if you're able to have the mind or the level of maturity to deal with more than one woman, and you can afford one woman, then take up to those many wives if you feel that you can treat them equitable. Because dealing with one woman is a is a trial within itself. But when you got to have a certain mindset to deal in that type of life. And with polygamy in those countries, it is lawful. Now it's frowned upon, like in Jewish traditions. At one point, the Jews, they were allowed to have polygamous relationships, but when Rome came in and really took over that region in Palestine and all those areas, they enforced monogamy for individuals, for one man, one wife.
Yeah, a lot of people.
One man, one husband, one wife.
A lot of people don't realize that monogamy is a fairly recent trend brought about mainly due to the shift in religious power,
right?
With Catholicism and Christianity and just generally Aramaic religions became the power, and that became the societal standard. Like that's not how man traditionally has lived.
Right.
So there is the religious aspect into that, well, religious history that is brought up into it, but like polyamorous relationships are not necessarily a new thing. It's becoming more mainstream, it's becoming more talked about, but as far as it being new, it's always been like kind of the undercurrent counterculture, so to speak. But now you have television shows expounding upon it. You see more literature about it. You see it being talked about in the news more often. So it's being pushed to the forefront of the consciousness.
Right.
So, so the way that I've seen it, and I really don't understand, if you want to say lifestyle or however you want to phrase it. I understand the history behind it, but and I know there may be some religious push for monogamy, but I never understood, because I'm not one that can love freely as the not the polygamy groups,
polyamory.
yeah, polyamory, how that's supposed to flow. I mean, my love is not that fluid. And I don't feel that I'm one that conforms to anything. So, but for me trying to love more than one woman, even when I was out in the streets and dealing with more than one woman at a time, it was hard for me to love them equally. So
but think about it. You've been conditioned since birth to see monogamous relationships as the default. Like everything you've consumed since you were like a baby has told you one man, one woman. Like even like nursery rhymes, cartoons, children's shows, everything you've consumed up until you reach the age of critical thinking, you've been programmed into that. This wasn't a conscious choice. Like, I think monogamy is the way I need to go. And a lot of people don't realize this. You're never shown until you become an adult that there are other ways of living. So to say you weren't indoctrinated into monogamy is a wrong way of thinking, because ever since you were a child, you just didn't realize it.
well, everything that I saw I saw a lot of misuse of the monogamous relationships, meaning
Right.
that there were always somebody else that was a part of the relationship, although they didn't know it. So cheating is what I'm
Right.
referring to.
Mhm.
Right.
So I was brought up in a cheating culture. So I never saw the true monogamous relationship, although the optics said it was supposed to be a monogamous relationship, but
Right.
it was not.
Mhm.
Right.
And um, I challenge any and everything. So to come to my own knowledge and my own thinking and my own way of what I want to be and how I want to be. So monogamy is what I chose because of how I feel and how I see things from my
But
perspective.
on the cool, uh, I think we all at some point indulge in polyamory because when we went through that stage where we had 3 and 4 different women at a time, juggling, juggling them, and
But it wasn't conscious or known to those women all the time, and nor were you engaged in a relationship with each
well,
other.
I mean, every now and then you ran into that one who knew you was with Sheila, but
But
she
but
just wanted you.
but that wasn't the thing. They weren't accepting of that other person
Oh,
to
okay.
live and to
Everybody,
share.
See,
everybody
the,
didn't know about everybody.
Right.
Is what
Everybody
you're
that
saying.
wasn't
that's
living and
that's what
sharing in the love.
Sheila knew about Sharon, but Sharon didn't know about Sheila.
this is what like the common misconception about polyamory is. It's like, well, back in the day, I was juggling like X amount of women. This one may have known about everybody else, but she still hang tough. That's not polyamory. That's
Cheating.
non-ethical. That's non-ethical monogamy.
Right.
Right. Right.
Like polyamory, there's so many different ways to do it because it falls under the ethical non-monogamous umbrella. But like the bottom line is like everybody knows about everybody and everybody's accepting of everybody. Everybody doesn't have to be in a relationship with everybody. That's
Right.
that's
Right.
one way to do it.
Right.
Like
Right.
So
I think
it's the way to survive in a relationship like that is to have sex, basically to have sex with no feelings.
no,
No, no, that's
definitely not.
not. No,
Because
that's
if you mess around and get feelings for one person
no,
and
Mm.
the other one get feelings for that
no,
person, then if it's a male, female, those guys can get into it if one tender dick. I'm just saying it's
no.
go ahead and elaborate on what I'm saying. Clear me up before I
All
go
right.
deeper. I'm gonna stop.
So say in your scenario, there's one woman and she's actively in a relationship with two other men. That's called the open V. Like she's the hinge in those two relationships. The men are not dating each other, but they know of each other. They're accepting that they're in a relationship with the same woman and they have feelings for the same woman. Like it's not that's the rub. You have to be completely open and honest about who you are. You have to be honest with who you are as a person. You have to know your limitations. You have to accept your
It
limitations.
got to be something that you think about before you. This is that shit ain't nothing to play with. Is basically what you're saying.
Right.
You
Like
have to know what the hell you get into. Like if you finna be a dope boy, you got to know the streets before you get in the streets.
right. Like say me and you be in the same relationship with the same woman. I know who I am, you know who you are. I know my lane, you know your lane. I'm not going to try and one up you just to score points with this woman. You're not going to try and one up me. We both it's accepting the fact that we both won.
So everyone has their role to this particular person and to
Right.
each other. So, you know, you may fulfill this one side of her and the other person may fulfill this other side or need for her, and you all share in that and fulfilling those needs or those wants or those feelings for that particular, where the person in the middle.
Exactly. Like there's no horse trading in polyamory relationships like there is in monogamous relationships, because in monogamy there's always that trade-off, like what do I have to give up in order to be with this person and still feel fulfilled?
Right.
Can I live without this?
Right.
Can I be this and still gain happiness from this relationship?
Right.
And that's not something that comes up very often in polyamory relationships, because you're not doing the horse trading. You're not trying to, I'm going to sacrifice this portion of myself so I can be with this person. This person recognizes like, hey, I'm this person. This person can do this for me and I can do this for them. I'm not going to ask them to go outside of this lane when I can form a relationship where I can get what I'm not getting over here with this person, and this person is totally fine with that.
Right. Right. Right.
And so is that how you eliminate that beast that they call jealousy? Because
Jealousy still happens, but the difference is like polyamory requires a lot of communication. It requires people to have adult conversations. It's not, you can't exist in the child space of your brain where you give they should just know answers, or you gotta pick up on context clues. You gotta have those conversations for the health of the relationships.
Right.
So
they go ahead, Jay, because I just thought about something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
David, because what I've seen in the commonality of polyamory, I was watching a clip that Black sent me of this guy and his wife included. They brought in a woman into their life. They're in a polyamorous relationship, but the woman that he brought in their life, he was cheating with this woman initially. So the way she was brought in, he was cheating on his wife with her. So they wanted to, the wife wanted to see the woman and say, hey, if this is something you want to do, let's go ahead and bring her in. Because a lot of times that I've seen in polyamorous relationships is that the women that I've seen that deal in those relationships saying, hey, if I can't fulfill you in one space, you have this woman that can fulfill you in that space. And all of them have their roles. What I've seen is that the women, they know how to maintain and keep the house going, how to keep things moving, and they understand their role with that man. So if this woman is married to the man, the woman that has been invited in don't encroach on that marriage. They don't get in the bed together. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they share their times, or he gonna spend his time with the other woman and not his wife. So that's the thing that I've saw. Commonality is that there's a level of understanding in polyamorous relationships that either one don't get hurt. Now we all humans, but you can have jealousy, you can have hurt, but it got to be like you said, David. It got to be a serious line of communication for you, in order for you to engage in that type of life.
so would it be fair to say that you love parts of the person, the parts that you fulfill or that they fulfill in you, but
No,
it's impossible to love the whole person?
I love them as a person. I love what they can do for me. However, I'm not going to ask them to go outside of, like, I'm not going to ask them to, like, set themselves up for failure by trying to be something that they're not.
Right.
Like, I still love this person, but I recognize who they are as a person.
Right.
So to comment on something that Jay said, like how his scenario, that is the absolute wrong way to get into a polyamory relationship, because that is more along the lines of the woman thinking like, I need to save my marriage. I don't want to lose what I got. So in order to keep what I have, I'm going to make the sacrifice of bringing someone that I can't stand that has violated me into my circle. It's effectively the keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Right.
That's
in this case, it was this case, not in a general sense. So let me.
Oh no, that happens
more.
That happens way more than you think it does.
Okay, yeah. That was just in that general sense. As a whole, I don't know how polyamory works, but from what I've seen and talked to people, it got to be some level of line of communication. But she said the way it started off, it didn't start off kosher because her husband was cheating with this woman, and she brought the woman that but go ahead, Dave.
Polyamory relationships that begin under those circumstances tend to not last very long, because you're coming in under the guise of deception to begin with.
Right.
So you're building on something that's already a fucked up foundation. Sorry if I curse on your podcast.
No, go ahead. No, we let it fly. We
but we I curse so much on this walk.
I'm the no bullshit therapist. It's part of my title. We cuss.
Right. We cuss.
But yeah, you can't come into a polyamory relationship with a bad foundation, and that's about as bad of a foundation as you can possibly get, because you're coming in like two people that are not satisfied in their relationship because cheating has already happened.
Right.
Like they're not getting what they need from this relationship. So they're bringing in someone to effectively be a stopgap.
Right.
That's the wrong way to operate in a polyamorous space. It may build into something good along the way, but the chances of that happening are very low.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's not polyamory. That's somebody conforming to what the other person wants, or giving in, or becoming submissive to what they want, in order to save whatever their relationship.
But what if they move them in and it's an agreement?
It's still the same thing.
It starts out bad. As I said, it may grow into something good, but that's not likely to happen. Because you're starting from a place of distrust. He doesn't trust her to fulfill her needs for him. She doesn't trust this woman because she's gone behind her back to get with her husband. Nobody trusts each other starting out. So that's a very bad place to begin.
Right.
And so in the polyamory lifestyle, or whatever you want to call it, I keep saying lifestyle. So in that, you do have to trust that other person that you're in a situation with, or in those relationships with, because that's what it is, a true relationship. So each person has to have that trust and that care and that love for each other. So it's a mix. So anything outside of that would cause an issue, like it would cause in any other in a monogamous relationship.
Even with polyamory, just like monogamy, the main foundation is trust. If you don't have trust, no matter where you go from there, trust is always going to be in question. If you can't trust the person that you're supposed to be riding with, it's like, what are we doing here?
Right. Wow. Well, let me ask this: the type of polyamory, is it you're maintaining? Are you maintaining these women that do you solely maintain, or do y'all help each? How is the house in the structure?
There are different type of polyamory relationships. There's solo poly, there's open triads, there's closed triads, there's kitchen table poly, there's parallel poly, there's relationship anarchy. So there's not one type of polyamorous relationship. Polyamory is just an umbrella term for various types of ethical non-monogamous relationships.
Right.
So say for your example, one man is holding down 2 or 3 women and they all live together. That would be considered kitchen table polyamory, because we can all sit at same kitchen table. I have my role. Girlfriend 1 has her role. Girlfriend 2 has her role. Girlfriend 3 has her role. We all live in the same house. We're all contributing to this house. We're all financially making sure everything's good. So that's kitchen table poly.
Okay.
The most popular and common polyamorous love style out there is what's called solo poly, and that would be I'm out here solo. I'm dating girlfriend A, girlfriend B, and girlfriend C.
Right.
A, B, and C all have their own lives. They all live by themselves. And we go out on dates. We enjoy each other. We're in acknowledged relationships with each other. But my money is not the main factor in helping these women out to get what they want from me because they have their own. So there are different types of ways you can play this.
So one of the examples or one of the storylines that I've seen on Seeking Sister Husbands, Brother Wives, or whatever it's called, is there was this one black guy. He had these three black women. They all went out and worked, and he stayed home. Um, and you know, me not
Pimp.
see me not understanding that particular lifestyle and how each person brings something to that relationship. Um, that kind of just the optics there weren't good for me. But listening to you explain how some of these worked, and I didn't know that there were so many different types of polyamory uh, that existed. But um, I when I think of it, I just think of the table, the one that you referred to as table,
Kitchen table.
kitchen table. That's the one that I've seen or the one that I'm most familiar with.
Yeah, that
Um,
that one is more played out in the mainstream that you see on the television shows like Seeking Sister Wives, Seeking Brother Husbands. They all live together. They all contribute to the household in their own way.
right. So on the solo, I mean, isn't that more of just open dating?
Yes and no. A lot of people would call it the polyamory version of serial monogamy.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Let me ask this. How do you deal with benefactors um, in relationships, in polyamory relationships that you've been with these women for years, long time, and you die?
Like
How do they benefit with death benefits? Is it what type of agreement, or is it a danger in that type of lifestyle in neither one of the women, or do you need a living will? Do you need a will? Going on what's happening with that when you have to set those type of measures?
when if you are getting into the long-term relationships with
Yeah,
multiple partners,
yeah,
this is where it pays to be uh be a person that has a good lawyer. Like
right,
you have to have paperwork written up. You have to
right,
say, "Hey, Sheila over here, we've been in a relationship for X amount of years. I consider her my primary partner. I want her to have X, Y, and Z. But Zara, we've been together for so long. I consider her an important part of my life, even though she's not my primary relationship. She's still important to me. I want 1, 2, and 3 to go to her. And you got to get that in writing. There's no like, well, he said I get this.
right, right, right,
Like,
right,
because
right.
then you start running into legal problems with the state laws, and
Yeah,
that things become hard to prove when you don't have paperwork involved.
That's right.
right, right. And we see a lot of instances with DMX. He had a live-in girlfriend. She had a baby by him. Uh, when she died, I think his wife that he was married to got more benefit than she didn't get anything. She had a baby by him.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of relationship, you gotta set things in place to make sure everything's secured. Chanel, you want to? What's going on, my queen? How are you? Are you doing
I am
okay?
chilling as usual.
Chilling like a villain. We got our brother David,
Hey,
Aaron
David.
on, and David. He's engaged in the lifestyle of polyamory. It's a new concept that I've heard coming up. It was polygamy, and I've seen polygamy through the scripture, and just adding with polygamy, dealing in polygamous relationships that I've seen. We've seen kings in the scripture with concubines and wives, different things of that nature. But polygamy was a vehicle that was used for legacy, and a lot of the concubines were for pleasure. Right. But you dealing with, they had wives and they had legacy, that they had sons, and sons ruled that land, and he did that, you know, through the perpetual practice of polygamy. In America, we know that's outlawed. I think in Utah they practice that, but I don't know if it's legal in Utah. But from what I've known, that is practice. Am I correct, David? It is practiced more in Utah than in any place in the United States.
That is correct. It's not exactly legal in Utah, but it's not frowned upon.
It's not frowned upon.
They're not gonna sick the polyamory police on you.
Police on you.
Right.
Like,
so
they're not gonna devote time and resources to that.
Right, they got a big concentration of Mormons there. That's what the Latter-day Saints and Mormons.
Yeah, that's right.
The capital of the Latter-day Saints.
Brigham Young University.
What is Silver? What is his Silver Lake? What is it? Utah. What is the place?
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City is the capital of that. Chanel, you want to add something to that? Do you want to ask him anything? Or
I was just flowing with what David was saying, because I'm a poly-friendly therapist. You know, poly-state therapist. So I have some clients.
I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you. And they need a safe space for that, because people are judgmental, you know, and people will, you know, frown upon the lifestyle that people live. I love, first of all, and y'all say, you know, I say it all the time, that all relationships require communication and trust, right?
Right.
If you ain't communicating, you ain't gonna trust nobody.
Right.
You know, and so this relationship is no different than any other relationship. As a matter of fact, I think it might be more successful in general than a monogamous one, because like y'all talked about before, many folks is cheating. I see on the internet all the time people making, you know, memes about, oh, you always been in a polyamorous relationship, except you just didn't know it.
Like every time I see that meme, I'm like, I hate that.
I'm like, no. And I'm a big stickler for honesty. Like, whatever you walking into, you need to be honest about it. You know,
Chanel, do you think it's more people get hurt and damaged in relationships because the people are not honest and saying, hey, this is what I'm feeling. I feel, boom, Chanel being, I'm not happy. And I just feel, you know, that I want to see somebody else. I want to see other people. I love you. We can be with each other, but I want to see other people. Do you think that you'll be more accepting of a man that's open and honest and saying, hey, this is what I want to do. You can do your thing. I do, as long as we don't mess the house up. How do you feel?
I wholeheartedly believe this is the thing, though. In order to do that, you have to know yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Right. And again, we're always roped into societal standards and norms and all that stuff. And so if societal standards and norms say I'm supposed to just be with one person, and I might feel like I could be with more than one person, you know, that's that norm leaning down on me, like, what are we doing? Right. Choosing, I mean, we get to choose whatever we choose.
Right.
As long as,
the thing I got with that, especially and how you doing, Chanel?
I'm doing well, Black.
The thing I got with it is, okay, I've been watching videos and stuff on it, and what gets me is the damn married couple that brings somebody in.
See,
I ain't really, that's kind of crazy to me, because they'll say, well, we've been married 15 years, you know, and the guy was already messing with this other woman. Then he brought her in because now the woman want to do whatever it takes to, like you said, those don't work. but now she's ready to do whatever it takes to keep her man. So now, okay, I want to meet the bitch you been fucking with. Okay, so then he bring her over there, and then she goes through with the little sexual act with the three of them, and deep down, there's gonna be some damn jealousy. I don't give a shit, because at the end of the day, the human species is an emotional creature.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're emotional by nature. Right. So unless you are programmed, like I usually always say, to fuck with no feelings, it's gonna be hard to just be in a relationship, especially somebody that at one point you married. At one point you loved. At one point you didn't want no other man, woman, or nothing even touching her hand. And now you got to put up with a whole nother human being sexting that person that you once was in love with. I think if you're going to practice that, it need to be 3 or 4, 5, 6 single motherfuckers who just know we just hooking up for sex, and that's it. No strings attached. That's the only way I can see some shit like that. We feel each other. We trust each other, but we ain't got no strings attached. But we gonna go out together. We gonna hang out together. We gonna eat together. We gonna sex together. But it ain't no strings attached. And then I do that shit for a minute. It's gonna be a phase. Then when I find this one person that I just want to kick it with, I'm gonna let all that shit go. It was fun, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I'm gonna try this for a little while. I just know that. But the point I'm making, the ones that's trying to do this shit that's married, I ain't feeling that. I don't see how that's gonna. That's I'm sure if I Google, I'm sure if I Google somewhere, quite a few of them things went south. Somebody got stabbed, cut, shot.
Here's the thing. Like, there are married couples that are successfully polyamorous with one other person or other couples that they've brought into their relationship.
Yeah, they call them unicorns or something. I heard.
That's a totally different subset of culture.
That's get into that,
that's more about swinger culture.
Get into that unicorn stuff.
Okay. So they move them in.
Like this is the difference between swinger culture and polyamory.
Mm.
Like swinger culture is like, say me and Miss Therapist here are a couple. Like we've been in relationship for like 10 years, been married, everything's solid.
Yeah.
Like sex is good, but we're thinking like, hey,
we can spice it up.
We can spice it up a little bit. Like I've been thinking, like we both been digging on that girl that we've been seeing in the supermarket for a minute. I think we should talk to her, see what she's about. And we both approach her. Girl is cool. We go out, have a good time, take it back to the hotel or the house, do our thing. Girl goes home the next day, and we discuss, like, is this something you want to pursue? You want to keep doing this?
Right.
Is this a one-time, like sowing the wild oats thing, or do you want to keep going? Right. And she says, I liked it. I like the energy she brings to the table, but I only want this to be a sexual relationship.
There you go.
And then we contact her and we'd be like, hey, we loved you last night. Are you cool with this only being like a sexual relationship? She's like, yeah, I'm down with that. And that's what it is.
That's it.
That's what it is. That's a swinger thing.
Okay.
Like a relationship thing is like, there are 2 ways you can do this in a relationship. That same girl could date us as individuals. Like she has her own relationship with me. She has her own relationship with her.
Right.
Like our relationships do not overlap.
Right. So when it's her time to be with the wife or the whatever, you just be like, all right, y'all holler at me next, holler at me, y'all enjoy yourself. And you just watch TV and flip the thing. LeBron James doing his thing.
Whatever. They go out, have their date, they have their nice time, they have their relationship time. I'm off doing whatever I do. They may not even have sex at the end of the night. They be like, hey,
it's a relationship. So you could be hanging out. You could be going on dates, doing whatever.
Like it's literally a relationship. Or she could date us as a couple. Like she is in a relationship with both of us at the same time, and we are in a relationship with her.
And she shows affection to both of y'all at the same time on the same day.
Yes.
Wow.
And again, that takes a lot of communication, a lot of trust. Mm-hmm. Like everything has to be on the table. Everything has to be on Front Street for everybody to see.
It's a communication up front. Like, this is what I want this to look like. And what are the rules? What are the boundaries?
Right.
Like,
you have to set
how do we want this to look? Right. Just like earlier, I heard you mention about, okay, this is my primary and this is a secondary, right? Everybody got to be okay with their position, right? Or do we have primaries and secondaries, or are both of them considered equal?
Right.
Like, there has to be a communication thing and what it is that y'all all want and agree with. Because the bottom line is, I know we've been taught and programmed this way to feel like there's one person that's supposed to fulfill all of your needs, but realistically, that's fucking impossible. One person cannot fulfill all of your needs, especially if and for most people, they don't share the same love language.
Right. And then that's once in a lifetime.
I give acts of service, but my partner might be touchy-feely and physical touch, right? And so I have to learn how to love them in the way they want to be loved, right? And do the touchy-feely and all that, if that's not my primary or even my secondary, because, we all fall in each one of those categories, but we have our primaries and so on.
Okay, so
at the bottom of mine is gifts. I can give a damn about a gift, right? But my partner just loves gifts, so I have to program myself to love them in the way that they want to be loved by giving them gifts, right? But that's hard for me because I don't see the value in it, right?
Right.
So if you're in a relationship such as this, you might have somebody in their relationship that's a gift giver. So boom, bam, they got their gift giver, and I ain't got to bust my ass trying to figure out, okay, how I do this gift thing, because I'm acts of service,
Yeah, like you're not setting yourself up for failure.
Right. And not that you can't, do those things, because we do. We work things out and all that kind of stuff, if that is how you choose to live your life. But I definitely understand and would not be opposed to being in a relationship where I can get my needs met from more than one person, right? As long as there's an understanding there about what is expected. Like for me, I can't be no secondary. I need to be primary. Right?
Right.
See who you want to see?
This is my wife, but this is my secondary. You're secondary.
I need to be primary.
No, but you're secondary because he has.
Yeah,
I got what is the definition? My definition of primary might be different than somebody else's because my needs are different. Right?
There's a thing that a friend of mine coined, and it's something that I like to use. It's called the roster, like 1 through 5.
Okay.
Like number 1 is your primary partner. This is your person you may live with, that you have had the longest relationship with, like that you may have a child with, like you may commingle funds, like your life is intertwined with this person. This is like your number 1 person, your primary relationship. Number 2 would be like your secondary, like for whatever reason, they could be number 1, but there's something holding them back that prevents them from being that number 1. But they they fulfill those needs. Like they give it to you in a similar way. Like they may not do the same things as your number 1, but they make you feel the same way. Okay. Like number 3 is like, this might be my little off to the side, like see them once in a blue moon type of thing. But every time we see each other, it's love, it's fun. We may have sex with each other. Everybody knows about number 3. Number 3 is cool, but we just don't interact with each other on a regular basis in order for this to be like more than what it is.
Right.
Number 4, number 5, these are people that I am talking to, not in a relationship with. They could move up the roster. There's potential there for them to move up the roster, but right now, these are just people that I'm talking to. Number 5 is like, I don't have a shot with this person unless like something super specific happens, but every time we see each other, there's a little cat and mouse there, but we don't take it further than that.
Right.
And I think it's a good if you're wanting to deal with the whole primary partner thing. I think the roster is the way to go.
But Chanel and the panel, that goes back to what I said on previous podcasts back, that every man gonna always have, if you're a real dude, real nigga, when you meet him, you not the first one. Every man gonna at least have 3 females. The one that he is his primary, that he, like he say, either have a child with, they living together, they have a financial obligation or whatever too. He gonna have that one that's fulfilling what she's not doing. And then he gonna have that other one that he can just call on whenever. She probably fixing the bologna sandwiches, laying up, she doing something extra. So he defined it as the roster, and they're like have a potential to move up. It's like you drafting, you playing your position.
Like
and on the cool, like you guys are saying, one person can't please. That's probably why every man that I know that's single are in some type of just not married and hiding everything, have at least 3 women, at least 3. If he a real dude, he living by himself, oh, he's seeing 3 women. He's seeing 3. So, and then he just broke that down.
So really, the only difference is everyone knows about each other.
Everybody knows about each other.
I mean, that's
not just everybody knows. Everybody knows
in agreement
and agreement about an agreement.
Everybody agree.
So to me, again, that's nothing more than just open relationships.
Well, open relationships is just, it's a monogamous like hall pass. Like if I'm in a relationship with somebody and I'm like, hey babe, I need a hall pass, and she's like, okay, do your thing, just don't come home with nothing, don't get nobody pregnant, don't have me looking wild out here.
She wants to have a blind eye to, like, I know it's happening, but I don't want to see it, I don't want to feel it, I don't want to have no effect of it. Just
but I mean, but the open relationship can work both ways.
But no, but that's even though open relationships are ethically non-monogamous, like an open relationship is primarily and fundamentally only sexual. It's not like I'm having a whole other relationship with this person. It's literally I'm looking to get my sexual needs met outside of my relationship with the permission of my partner.
But even in that open relationship, there's still, if you have a roster per se, then they're still meeting different needs. You may go over to Jane's house because she cooked real well,
right? And
you do whatever for her. And then you have the fun girl. She likes to go out to the clubs and party, so she fulfills that part of you, you know. So to me, it's still all a trade-off, just under a different name.
Yeah, but that's wrong terminology. Like, people use open relationship synonymously with polyamory relationships, and that's not the case.
It's really different.
Okay. Like, if you, what you described is a solo poly situation. Like, you're in a relationship with 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 all know about each other. 1, 2, and 3 are fine with the fact that you were dating 1, 2, and 3. Like, open relationship is you're dating 1. You have a fully formed life with 1. You have a child, you have a home. Like, you are married to 1, but occasionally 1 allows you to go fuck B.
Yeah.
She just don't want to be looking wild out here in the streets. Just don't bring nothing back. Have your fun. Come back home.
So that still falls under the monogamy umbrella.
Still falls under the ethically non-monogamous umbrella, but it's not polyamory. because you have
no
other relationship with B other than sexual satisfaction.
Right. That makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for breaking that down.
But what I'm saying is, even so, in a lot of those, even open relationships, and say your wife, your number one, your
primary.
your primary, your top roster chick, right? She knows that you are dealing with these other women, and you may even, as you say, get a pass to go spend the night over there, but there's still there's normally or could be something more than just a sexual relationship. There still have a relationship. It's just that the other the primary and the secondary may not have the type of relationship that there is in a polyamory.
See, but this is where cheating within non-monogamy happens, because like your primary is thinking that you're going over to B just for sexual satisfaction. She's not thinking that
your ass over there trying to fall in love.
Typically.
Right.
Like,
yeah, because if you catching feelings again, we got to come back to the table and talk about that.
Yeah, you got to come back to the table.
But you know what, Chanel, y'all? That's what happened with one of the previous podcasts when I told y'all about that woman who was a nympho and her husband couldn't keep up with her sex drive, so she wanted to bring other people in the relationship. He caught feelings for the different women that they was sleeping with together, and now they divorced. So
which I can see how that happens, because I talked to y'all before about like it is difficult for us to have intercourse with multiple people on a regular basis and spend all that time with them without developing something.
Yeah, right? Like feelings are gonna be there. Like I tell people, like I'm also a swinger, like, and I've been in the swinging lifestyle like as long as I've been poly, and I tell people like I gotta feel something for you if I want to fuck you.
And that's how quite a few people think. But I learned in high school to do that without feelings, because I got tired of thinking, when we were coming up
now at your age though,
I had to go with you.
Young folks, that's different to me.
I had to go with you to get back in the gap. Okay. Right now you don't have to do that. But 10, 15, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I had to go with you. Even if I didn't really like you, if we hanging together, I'm gonna have to make you think that we go together for me to get. And so I learned way back in the gap to have sex without that, because I got tired of thinking because I didn't have sex with him that we're a couple. And then she turned around and be with John Wilson 3 weeks after I didn't have sex with her, and I'm calling her, she ain't answering my phone. So I was like, I had to, you have to learn to take those feelings out.
I understand where you're coming from, and I'm the opposite, because when I was in college, I'm 42 now, so college was a minute for me. Like I was a demon in college. Like I used to be like hitting like 2 and 3 in the same day.
That's what I said. You have to learn to hit with no feelings. I couldn't catch feelings.
And over time,
it's a lot easier to do that anyway.
And over time, I just was like, this is not satisfying.
Right, because after a while, because just plain sex is not interesting unless you have some connection.
Like I don't like heartache, and so I just learned to just do it, because I thought that's what you had to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what when you're popular, you got to do it. And then, I'm worse than that woman who not being satisfied because my eyes be rolling back. Okay, I'll be glad when this shit over with, because it wasn't who I wanted to be with. It wasn't. I knew it was just for sex.
Right. So let me ask a question, David. So, how does polyamory and swinger lifestyle coexist?
Because there's a lot of overlap in the two, like relationship and lifestyles. There's they coexist under the same umbrella of ethical non-monogamy, but there's also a lot of crossover. Like you do have polyamory couplings and groups that are also swingers. Like one of the women that I dealt with in my past, like we were swingers. We would go to swinger parties together as a couple. Like we would meet up with a group that we knew that we got close with. We'd have our fun with the group. And at the end of the day, we were still a couple. But we would also go to swinger parties.
So, so, in the polyamory situations that I've seen, of course, the two people that are the same sex do not have sex, right?
That's like if they're I've seen like male female triads. I've seen male like where one is gay and one is bi, and the two men will have sex, but the one bi male will have sex with women. I've seen female male situations where one of the women is a lesbian and the other one is bi, and the bi one will have sex with men.
Yeah, the ones I've seen been like what he's saying. One of them would be both ways in the out of the trio.
Like I've also seen, like I've personally been involved with two women who were heterosexual, didn't have sex with each other.
Okay.
And I dated them as individuals, but they were knowledgeable of each other. They actually became friends with each other. Like they had like a very cool friendship, which still exists to this day, even though I'm not in a relationship with either of them. Like, and the only reason why I'm not in a relationship with either of them is because I don't live in the same place as them no more. But we're all still cool.
Nice.
Man,
So,
that's everything.
question to David, and realistically speaking, on here every blue moon we dip and do personal shit.
Mm-hmm.
What made you get into that? Was it that
my last failed monogamous relationship?
Okay.
Like, and that wasn't like the catalyst. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
Mm.
Because even before, like I always felt that monogamy doesn't feel right for me. I feel like I'm doing this for other people other than me. I feel like I'm doing this for the sake of societal standards.
And that's
like,
what I hear from people in therapy too. Like it's that they've always felt like that wasn't their thing. But just
like it was just in the back of my mind that this doesn't feel right for me. This doesn't feel good. Like I love this person, but I can't turn off my love for this other person over here for the sake of this person.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel right to me.
So you felt like that even before your failed relationship. Is that what you're stating?
Yeah.
So what all right, so if you felt like that prior to, so you felt like you just had to like a gay person, a person that a gay person that's trying to marry a straight person,
Societal
right?
standards.
Right.
Like I was afraid.
So you were feeling that the societal standards were pushing you towards monogamy when you always wanted to be polyamorous.
I didn't know the term for it, but I just know it didn't. Like
Right.
this over here felt more like
Comfortable.
yeah, it
Like
felt
home.
comfortable. It felt more real to me than this. Like
yeah.
Like,
What age did you did it start to come to fruition that you felt that? What age?
30.
30.
And what that song say? Trying to love too ain't easy to do.
I can tell you exactly what happened. Like my last.
Did you see sparks of it coming up? Did you feel
like,
sparks of it coming up as
like,
a teenager? And
like when I would date people, when I would have relationships with people, I would devote myself to them fully. But I was like, I don't like the trade-off that I'm having to do in order to be with this person. Like I love these aspects of myself. And I feel like I can't be this and be with this person. But I love this over here. I love this part of me. But I have to shut this off in order to be with him.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's like, and then
that's like being a player.
And then when the last time it happened, like it was just the relationship that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because what had happened was I actually got accused of cheating by my girlfriend. And we got into an argument. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a walk because you're bugging right now. If you bother to like pay attention, you will realize that the person you're accusing me of cheating with you on, I don't play for the right team. Like she is not into God.
Right.
And
you know, yeah, they're not thinking about the real one, but yeah.
Right. And like I go off and I walk someplace to cool off. I come back, there's cops in our home. Like, and I look in, she's completely torn up the place. Like holes in the drywall, patio door is kicked out. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I realized, I was like, I'm done. I'm done with monogamy. I can't do it no more. Because this is like, one, I can't be my total self and get what I want out of this relationships. And it's just that was the catalyst where it just bubbled all.
So was that the symptoms of monogamy, or was that the symptoms of a crazy chick?
It was the symptoms of monogamy, like jealousy, like
crazy chicks and monogamy.
Yeah, like unable to communicate what's going on.
Because we're not trained that way. We're not trained to talk about there's a standard of, okay, men's supposed to do this, women's supposed to do that, or even in a gay relationship, okay, this is supposed to do that one's supposed to do that. And we could walk into it without talking about what we need personally, or what our desires are and who I am as a person and all that. It's just, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is your role, and this is the way it's supposed to be, right? And so, because we're not taught to communicate, we're not taught to talk about the things and individualize our needs and all that kind of stuff. Oh no, you're a woman, so you're supposed to be in there cooking, or you're supposed to be doing this and that, or you're supposed to have sex with me because I'm your husband, or it's all these supposed to's in the air.
That's right.
Rather than sitting down and saying, hey, I like having sex 5 times a week. What about you? 2 to 3. Can we compromise? Like, right. And all that. So like everything should be verbalized and understood to see if that is a match. People.
A lot of men.
One of them is a hot bucket and wants to have sex all the time, and the other one is like, nah, I don't really want to do that. That's not a match.
Well, that's why you have to find your match. That's why you have to find your match.
That's and you're right, but we usually don't. We just seek what we're missing. We just seek out what we're missing.
And I'm not a traditionalist. I'm not a traditionalist when it comes to male and female roles. Right. So I don't believe you have to be barefoot in the kitchen cooking. I mean, you have your career, you do what you need to do, you have your own mind. And if I have someone like the one that I have now, we match. I finally found someone that we match. Yeah. So the other ones I just didn't match with, and I had to give up. That's where I had to do that trade-off in monogamy, as we're referring to.
But me knowing you and you knowing me, if these relationships that we're in now, since we so-called found our matches, if these don't work, it's no more than what he's saying, because I'm not going to get my heart tied up in nothing else. I'm going to be sitting back just like old boy, because a lot of men say once they get out of long-term relationships where they did a trade-off and sacrificed and all that to be with that person, once they get out of that, they finna be free as a bird. They'll never marry again. They're going to date 4, 5, 6 different women. And may as well, if that's the life you want to live, you're 40 plus years old, who want to be sneaking and hiding? This is what I got going on. I'm seeing Sheila today. I'm seeing Melanie Monday. I'm seeing Sharon Saturday. Right. And tonight is not your night.
Right. So
no, I'm going to be with Sheila tonight. It's not your night.
You offer that option. And if they choose to stay, then they choose to stay.
Exactly.
But me personally, after I got out of my last divorce, I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna get me a vet and a condo, and I'm good. I'm gonna have me a roster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest with everybody. Hey, I'm about to go to Jamaica, and let's see, 1, 2, 3. You going with me?
You going with me? Right.
Yeah. Right. Because I like you. You fun. We gonna go kick it. Right. But and forward, you going to church with me because you got some fly church hats or something. You know what I'm saying?
Come on now.
But until, and this person and I, we dated before 16 years
And
before.
that's the difference. You
So
went
that's what
back
I was.
to familiar territory.
I don't think it have to be like that though, because y'all
It
know
doesn't.
I was in a marriage for a long time and thought he was the one and the only and all that, and came out of that, and I didn't have any intention either to find another person, but I happened to find another person. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of happened, and I allowed it to.
And
I
that's
was
the
open
only
to
reason.
allow it to happen.
The only reason it worked is because you weren't looking for it and it happened.
That's true.
Only reason. But had you been like, man, it's been 6 months and I ain't had none, and I ain't been on no date in a year, it wouldn't happen like that.
Yeah, I mean,
but the fact that you was cool and straight, and same way with him, he had damn near forgot about that girl. that he's the one he's married to now. He had blocked her out. He was going through so much hell in his last marriage. When he got out of it, they just happened to fate just put them back together. Because that had been over 10, I know 7 to 10 years, probably 10 years since he been with her.
16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
So they just happened to bump back into each other, and it wasn't no closure when they broke up in the first place anyway. It wasn't no closure. And then after he was going through his hell, she ended up going through hell in her last marriage, and they got back together. So it's kind of like a fate thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I know if this shit fails, he ain't gonna be quick to get with nobody else. I know I'm not.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, and I guarantee you that I wouldn't, because I honestly feel like that this person is my person and has always been my person, but the timing wasn't right when at that particular
16 years ago.
Yeah, at that particular time. But we still, when we came back together, it was just like we broke apart.
And like David, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and he's having the time of his life since that last heartbreak, because he loved them, but he's not letting his heart get so wrapped up where, like he said, the other two left. I mean, he not in the same city, and he like, the only reason we ain't together because we ain't in the same city. So it's like I can go back and kick it with him, but I ain't messed up about it. I'm thinking when you're in that controlling and deep love crap, you can't really have that. You gonna love that person, but it ain't that. If she leave you, you gonna kill yourself, or you gonna starve to death, or you isolate yourself for 20 years.
I've had poly relationships where like I had that deep love. Like my last nesting partner, like we lived together, like we got an apartment together, and I loved the fuck out of her. Like I thought, like she was like one of my people. Like she was like
your inner circle.
Like and just things like happened where we couldn't be together anymore. Like we both got jobs that required us to like move in different directions. Like there's like I can't go to where you're going because what I do for a living is not, it would be very hard for me to make a living where you're going, and vice versa. It would be very hard for you to make a living where I'm going to, because I live in the DMV now. She lives in Asheville, North Carolina.
Right.
So the tech industry is not booming down there.
Right.
But it is booming up here.
Right.
Yeah.
But Asheville, North Carolina is hippie country, and she's a creative, she's an artistic person. But more than anything, I love her like almost as much as life itself. But I have
that's heavy.
I have to understand, like, even though I have this love for you, I'm not gonna allow this love to stifle you. I'm not gonna.
There we go. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not gonna allow it to stop you growing as a person.
Right.
Like,
because that's what real love is, right? Love is the ability to be able to let that person, you want that person to be happy. You know,
I want
even if
her,
that means not being with me.
Like, even though I'm not like there, like we still see each other. She'll come up here from time to time. I'll go down there from time to time, and Like, and the love is still there, but we, like, due to who we are as people, cannot be in the same space right now. Yeah. And we're both fine with that. Mm-hmm. We both want to see each other be the best person that we can possibly be. We are like, I'm cool with her boyfriend down there. Like, yo, I call him up like, yo, I'm coming down. Don't tell her I'm coming down. I wanted to be surprised. He's like, cool, man, I got you. And he knows the love that we have for each other. And like, it's all love. So it's not like I'm like putting a wall up, like, okay, you two can only get as far as this wall. Like, I want you to be here.
So do you all still engage in a sexual relationship?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and he's okay with that.
Yeah, he's fine with it.
Okay, so he's part of that,
and you gotta see him.
No, so he's part of that polyamory lifestyle.
Yes, he is. Like, and like, I totally accept the fact that she's got a boyfriend and he's the boyfriend down there. Like, I'm not gonna come into their space and be like, okay, you're on pause. Right. I'm here now. Like, nah, I respect your shit. I respect your relationship with this woman. I'm not gonna trample all over it.
So it's like, hey, I'm gonna be down next weekend, so she mine this weekend.
so in that, okay, so in that dynamic, so when you do go visit, does she visit you separate from their home? Are you allowed to come to their house? Yeah, you all sleep.
I'm always set up in the guest bedroom.
So
yeah, he be hitting it in the kitchen.
So she comes. So she's able to stay in the room with you while her husband or boyfriend is in the primary room.
Yeah.
And then he go to work and he bring the groceries home. She cook them and she feed that nigga.
Yep.
All right, I got a question. I got two questions. So one, do you feel like,
man, this is heavy. This is heavy.
A polyamorous relationship kind of softens the blow when it comes to having to separate from somebody that you really love at that level?
That's a good question.
It doesn't.
It hurts just the same.
Just because you have other partners doesn't mean that the impact of like being separated from a partner is lessened. You may have more people available to you to help you get out of that space.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. But the impact isn't lessened. You just have more people on your team to help you up.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is that this is what David is comfortable in. So he understands the rules. He understands. Because a lot of us. Well, let me walk that back. I don't know, but you can come to this man's house. You can come to the house and have sex with his girlfriend in the other room while he's there,
clipping his toenails.
You know, that's a level of, you know, your mindset got to be
your mind. Yeah, your mind got to be right.
You gotta. Even dealing in polygamy. Let me say something about polygamy. That's when you engage in polygamy and it's a lawful construct of marriage. When you got a man having more than one wife or a woman with polyandry having more than one husband, there has to be a level of maturity there. And from what I've read of polygamy, it's a construct to help move legacy. Not necessarily, you know, just in life you don't have the rules. It's you moving legacy that I'm having these wives are having my children to rule a kingdom or to move something forward, move an organization forward. So to engage in that type of life, you got to really be mature in that type of life. Because if you don't, you can get emotional. People can kill each other, you know, because brother, you know, David, that take a lot You can come to this man's house, and it's a level of understanding that he can come there. You know, you can come in.
No, I'm gonna tell you. And at
the core of it, I don't think it's nothing nasty. Because that's the thing.
Right, but let me tell you where it could get nasty. I can tell you where it could be nasty. We already, all of us know condoms not 100%, right?
Right.
He go down there for a weekend to screw that man's good, and then he get her pregnant.
Like, there are kids that exist within polyamory relationships.
Wow.
Yeah. How would you deal with that if the women you dealing with you got them pregnant?
But he's not attached to him. He just a dick man.
No,
that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Your heart is with
my heart is with these women.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm
not open relationship.
Like an actual relationship. Like we will co-parent. Like we will raise this child. Like we will be this child's parent. Like everybody that I'm in a relationship will know that we have a child together. Everybody that you're in a relationship will know that we have a child together. Like there are kitchen table poly configurations where kids are involved in the same living situation as multiple partners, because that's how they chose to make that rock. They're like, yo, let's combine our resources and do this. Like,
so it's like the village raising the child.
Yeah, literally the village.
Yeah, that's why somebody put it under our poster. It's a village.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow. So there are potentials for children happening within these relationships, and that's a conversation you have to have with your partners. Right. Are you fine with children? Are you fine with
again talking about it? Yeah.
Like, are you fine with like me bringing children from prior relationships?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're just out here having fun sexually.
Yeah, wilding out.
Yeah, you're not out here wilding out. These are real life like relationships, and everything that comes with these relationships you have to deal with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
other question. No, I ain't finished my other question.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So for you personally and in general that you know of, how have you ever had a situation where there was jealousy happening, or how do you feel like people in polyamory relationships handle jealousy? Because I know it can and will.
Yeah, please answer this one.
Like,
honest.
Even though there is understanding, but you know, we are people.
I have had jealousy within a few of my relationships because, like, especially in the beginning, I was like, yo, I can do this, but this dude is out here doing this, and there's no way I could compete with this. And it didn't dawn on me until like a couple of years in, like, I'm here for a reason. He's here for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, so it also took like sitting down and talking out the jealousy. Like, I feel this way.
Yes.
And there's like ways you can deal with it. Like, okay, you feel this way. What can we do to handle this? Or you feel this way. What you're feeling is unfounded because of this.
Right.
There is no
just the validation and the
like you don't need to feel this way because this is not happening the way you think it's happening.
You're thinking it in your head. Okay.
Like,
so you're a communicator. The way you get through that, you have to be a communicator.
You have to.
The person that holds things in, it can get ugly.
It will get ugly. There is no can. It will get ugly.
Wow.
Because like communication in poly is key because you have to know what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Like, say me and you are in a relationship with Miss Therapist. Like, we don't have to be boys. We just have to acknowledge that one another exists.
Right. Got you.
And like, she can say, hey, David, I'm going out with Black today. Are you cool tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I got dinner, got TV. Go do your thing. Have a good time. Or she go like, hey, Black, I'm spending a couple of days over at David's house. You gonna be okay?
Hell no, because I was trying to kick it with you this weekend. So you tell that nigga, I got the roses, I got my money up, I already booked the hotel to Marriott.
Let's unpack that.
Right.
You said you had plans. That's a conversation for y'all to have.
Right. Because if
that's
you
a conversation that you
okay, I get what you're saying now.
So and I'm like, yo,
in that,
David,
it's
Black had plans already I know about, and so
right. So when you're in there, like he say, it's 1,000% communication. If I'm thinking about doing the Marriott and flowers all over the bed and the Ferris wheel and all that, she has to know in advance because it's more people involved in that decision making than just she and I, like it is in the monogamy.
So
because you end up at the Marriott with that
I got a surprise for you this weekend. I'm not gonna tell you all that, but it's a surprise. Don't make no plans.
Like you can come to me. You can come to me, be like, Dave,
gotcha. Okay. When I got a plan for her, I have to come over you and say, hey man, try not to do nothing Saturday because I wanted to take a session. So you'll know, and if you're legit,
I'll be like,
we all communicating, you know, to keep it to yourself and go to a ball game.
Like, yo, I got you. Like, do your thing. I'm a clear up my schedule. You know what the greatest tool of polyamory relationships is? Google Calendars.
Wow.
Yes.
What did he say?
Yes, Google Calendar.
Google Calendar. Wow.
So you block your time off?
Block your time off.
Everybody that I'm in a relationship in my Google Calendar. Like, yo, I'm doing this with this person. I'm doing this with this person. Everybody sees the calendar.
Right.
Everybody's communicating. Like, yo.
So what happens when you get traded out of your spot if you're on a roster? I mean,
you gotta talk, man. You gotta talk. That's a conversation.
So they'd be like, all right, so you going down a rank, and I mean, but how would you deal with that?
I imagine that a person might already know, because if you're connected to these people in such a way, when dynamics in your relationship change,
you know it. We may not want to accept it.
To acknowledge it.
Yeah, we may not want to accept and acknowledge it, but we know when it's trouble in paradise.
So when there's like trouble in your relationship, but the key is you have to communicate like, hey, like I feel like we can still be something, but I don't want to make this level of commitment with you. Are you still comfortable being this to me, but down here
at a lower level? Yeah.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Okay. Wow.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Next level.
I had another question, but now I can't remember what it was.
I know I forgot mine for a minute too.
But that's some different. And like he said, you really have to know what you're getting into, because it's open per se, it's poly, but on the same note, it seemed like you dedicated to that person. Instead of you being dedicated to one, you're dedicated to 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you still have to be, it still got to be some form of commitment to the other ones that you're dealing with. It's just that you have more freedom. It's just not one person, one sex, one way. You have multiple partners, different ways, but you're committed to all of them. So what happens if the 3 or 4 that you committed to decides to talk to somebody else?
Have at it. Like, that's part of the conversations you need to have. Like, what are the boundaries here? What are the parameters of these relationships? Are we like a closed entity where you're only dating me and the people within this closed structure? Or are you solo poly where you're all dating me, but you're also dating whomever out here? So you have to have these conversations. Like, another thing is, like, you have to know your bandwidth. Like, what is your bandwidth for partners? Like, you can't, just because you can have 3 and 4 relationships, doesn't mean you have the bandwidth for 3 and 4 relationships. Yeah. Can you give these relationships what they need to have? So, like, have time for yourself? Do you have the bandwidth to like maintain a career as well as these relationships? So you have to, this is what I said, in the beginning, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to know yourself.
Right. So, and these relationships, and then when it comes to the sexual part of relationships, do you have to discuss with the other person that if you're able to use a condom or not, or do you, or
that's a
because
conversation. Like
Conversation too.
yeah, because I mean
conversation.
everybody's pH balance. I mean you're gonna be somebody pH balance getting thrown off, and
Yeah.
then you end up baking bread instead of having sex.
As I said, you got to have the conversations. People got to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I get tested once every 4 months, and I'm open with my results with my partners because that's the level of honesty we need to have with each other. Yeah. Like, I can't be going up in here raw dogging everybody, be like, yo, and telling like everybody else, like, yo, I'm wearing condoms, but I'm not really. That's like breaking the trust.
That's right.
Right. Well, David, I want to commend you for coming on here and being open and honest about this, and
I appreciate it.
and
That's too much
enlightening
communication.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
that's real, man.
That's a lot of communication, man. I'm kind of quiet to myself type person. Oh, that goddamn communicate. that shit there, that'll wear me out. So
I had to build into this. It's not something that I came in able to communicate effectively. I had to grow. I had to learn how to. I had to unlearn a lot of monogamous stuff in order to survive being poly. Like I had to unlearn things while learning new things. Like I had to learn how to effectively communicate my needs.
Yes.
I had to effectively learn how to communicate like how I am navigating my other relationships to other partners. Like I can't, like if something's bothering me with one partner, I can't like keep that bottled up with somebody else and just be screw faced all the time because they're gonna be like, yo, is this something going on with us?
Right.
And that's the hard part.
I gotta be honest. I'm like, nah, man, we cool, but me and Shantae got into it, and I'm just kind of all fucked up in the head right now.
So you gotta tell her everything.
You gotta be honest. Like you don't have to give intimate details of why you're fucked up, but you have to admit that things are wrong in other places. You have to admit that things might not be going the best over here, but you also have to not allow that to dictate how other relationships are going.
Dude, man, like I said, that is work because when I'm pissed, especially at a female, the next person, sex is the last goddamn thing on my mind. That helper coming out, I done got pissed with Sheila, and then Sarah coming there trying to rub on my chest. Like, if you don't get away from me,
you're not trying to have the angry
not what I
get
want. It out. Nah, hell no. I don't do the breakup and makeup shit. Fuck, damn her until I calm down. Goddamn it, because I'll be then broke her neck. Damn it. Police time, you know. So ambulance. But no, that's work, man. And like I'm like the Austin. I have to commend you on that, man. That's work. Women as a whole these days are becoming a fucking headache, and wearing with three damn headaches, attitudes, and all that shit, man. You a hellified man. And I never thought I'd meet a man that was more than me. You got me beat, my brother.
That's a lot for him.
You know, I don't even think it's being able to have to deal with headaches because you're able to you can move from one headache to another headspace. So
I don't want that.
You don't have to deal with that. And
right. I don't want it. So
you still have to deal with it, but it's about communicating. You have to.
Yeah, all that communicating, I don't think I can do because I'm so to myself and handling things myself. And I don't like people knowing when I'm going through stuff. And in that relationship, if something bothering me and I got 3 other people involved in it, I gotta communicate. I have to. And you know, that'd be kind of tough for me.
Like you can like if your way of dealing with things is to like deal with one-on-one, you can effectively go to your partners and be like, hey, me and Sheila got into it
So y'all leave me the fuck alone for a couple of days.
Like, can you give me some space to deal with this? Like, just give me a little space. And they would understand because you communicated that to them that, like, hey, I need to handle this and I need some space to handle it. Like, I appreciate the love and concern y'all have for me, but I just need you to.
This is what I
need. Y'all gotta have love for each other. You can't just go get somebody random off the street and bring them into your cycle. Y'all really have to have 100% love, damn near like family type shit.
Yeah, you have to have that love and that trust. That's the foundation for any successful polyamory relationship.
For any relationship.
Really. Any relationship, yeah.
So, but the difference is, if he get mad at Sheila, he could just put everybody on the Zoom call and they try to work everything out.
If that's how we want to rock it, we can rock it like that.
Yeah. So everybody giving relationship advice to the person that they're in a relationship with. You know, but you know, man, it takes it. I feel that it takes a lot of strength, and it's always been the question for me: does it take a strong person, or is it a weak person that's delving into these relationships?
I would say it takes neither. It takes a person that's willing to accept growth. Because like you don't need to be strong or weak to grow as a person.
All right.
You just have to be a person that's open.
I mean, and I can see where it fits in today's society because everybody fucking cheating anyway. So why not just say, hey, we're gonna see who we're gonna see, and it just be open. You know what I'm saying? It's open, but it's only between us. You know what I'm saying? So I can see the place of it in today's time.
And here's the thing, coming from a polyamorous person, like the topic of the show is polyamory the answer for modern day relationships? No, it's not. Communication is the key for modern day relationships.
Come on, bro.
And they not talking.
Right.
And the people not talking.
Lines, man.
You know, and like you're saying, communication is the key to modern day relationships and any relationship. So if people are and being open and honest with yourself about what you really want to do, you get into these monogamous marriages and you really don't want to be there. So yeah, so why not open up and have a conversation and say, look, I mean, these are the optics, but this isn't what I want.
Right.
I want to do this, this, and this.
This, yeah.
And that's
in marriage, I wouldn't do the marriage.
And that's the thing. You hit the nail right on the head. Like you have to be willing to have those hard conversations.
That's
like you have to be willing to have initiate them. You have to be also willing to be receptive to what you get back.
Yeah, that I was just going to say.
Because what you get back may not be what you want to hear.
Right. Right.
Wow. Man, we're going to reset the room. We want to thank David, Aaron, myself, Phantom J, DJ Black, the Austin, and the therapist, Chanel. Let me see what you got this
week. No bullshit
your favorite no bullshit therapist. We want to thank everybody, man. We were dealing with the topic right now, and the topic we were dealing with is this here. It's polyamory, the answer for modern day relationships, and we had a brother that came on, David, Mr. David, that engaged in a relationship, and it's a lot to polyamory, and the key of it is dealing with communication, from what I got.
And the main thing that I commend David on, he came on here. He didn't try to push that on nobody.
Right.
He spoke on it, and then he answered the topic.
That's right.
No, it's not the answer. Communication is the answer.
Honesty. Right. Honesty. And
you know what I'm saying? And his situation and relationship proves that communication is the main key.
Right.
And in its communication, you know who to talk to. Because then when I said communication is the key, well, no, communication ain't the key if they ain't listening. I'm sure you know how to pick the person who's gonna listen.
Right.
So and that's why I brought up the fact that he say that love has to be there. It has to be a love, a bond between you and these people that you let in that cipher, and unless they doing the solo, poly. And then even that has a form of love in it because she's part of your cipher. So he just backed up that communication is the main thing. And like I say, I'm more of I don't really communicate a whole lot until something pisses me off. I'm one of them people. But in his the poly thing, in order for it to work, you have to be in communication with everybody that's in your cipher. And and that's kind of deep to me. So, but I commend him, and like I say, he's strong, open-minded. My hat's off to you, man. And like I said, we're gonna have you on here with a lot of other things because I like you intelligent. I like the way you speak. You was honest. We made him hit some deep parts of his thing, like we made Chanel do, like Chanel made me do. So yeah, this therapeutic. We get to talk and we get to the root of why we are who we are on here. So yeah, man, I commend you and good luck on your endeavors, and I hope everything work out for you, man. And like I said, we're not gonna be strangers. So yeah, we're gonna communicate, inbox me, you know what I'm saying? Any resources we have you need, I DJ. We got people on the panel that do everything else. She's a therapist, you need to talk with her about some stuff. I trust her like a sister that I never had. So I'm able to, if I'm going through something and I need to know something, I'm gonna hit her up in the inbox and she let me know. And she don't take sides. If I'm right, she say yeah. If I'm wrong, she gonna say no, you're wrong on that.
No bullshit.
And that's what made me bond with her, because she's a no bullshit therapist. If I'm full of shit, she gonna say nah, you full of shit on that. But yeah, I get what you're saying on that. The other part you was full of shit on, and then and I listen because I'm open. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be right all the time. I like learning. I thirst for knowledge.
Right.
So yeah, we thank you, man, and we just gonna tell everybody it's not the answer, even though everybody doing it and they don't really understand it either. Yeah. A lot of people think that that poly is just having sex. They don't understand the details and everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
They just think that I'm open to just have sex with who I want. I like me two guys, and so we all screwing each other. But it's deeper than that.
And Black, I want to add to, not to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
I just thought about how broken people can be at the end of relationships when they're not honest.
Yes,
when you find you didn't put yourself in this person, you didn't gave this person, you didn't gave this person a place to stay, you didn't help this person. You poured all yourself into this person for this person to cheat on you and hurt you, instead of just being honest. And when somebody come along that really want to love you, he's going to catch the struggle. He's going to catch the brunt of that person that's broken, and it's going to take a special type of love to really build that person up. So, brother, just for you being honest and it's a level of communication, I think that mitigates the heartache, that mitigates the pain with each other, so that we know if you're not really mature in the polyamory lifestyle, don't engage yourself into it. If you're not in mature enough for polygamous lifestyle, don't engage yourself into it if that's something that you can't handle, because based on how you explained it, you got to be a damn good communicator to really explain it and convey your ideas that both sides really understand. Because you can have an understanding of yourself, but if you really don't get the thorough understanding on the back end, and that person that you're involved with don't understand where you're coming from, it can be more destructive in the end. But I've seen a lot of people just be broken behind relationships that they pour themselves into. So.
And I don't know, before we leave and we do our final thoughts, it go back to what I said previous podcast. When she called the police That was a straw that broke the camel's back. As soon as I don't give a damn, we've been together 1,000 years. When she called that police, that's a wrap. When he came home and he seen the police at his crib, he knew right then this over. No matter how deep in love, no matter how he wish it lasts forever, that shit over. And that's why I told you, if I have to hide in the bathroom for 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, and cry every morning I get up, I know I gotta leave that relationship. And that's what happened to that brother right there.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew it was over. He wasn't going to take no more.
Yeah, yeah, folks. So I think that's a wrap. Black, go ahead and land this plane.
Nah, it was a good session, man. Shout out to Shanna Brooks, Tastasia. Here go Quita Glass. Glass, you missed a good one.
Man, you missed a good one.
She got
little girl. He broke that. He broke it down. You can watch the replay.
You can watch it.
But he broke it down, baby, and you know he broke it down.
Mm-hmm.
So Tastasia, you know, she always in here. Shanna Brooks was at it. My therapist, the Austin. And you know, we did our thing. David came on here, he showed up and he showed out. He didn't cower down like so many other people. Yeah, I'm gonna be on there, and then they don't show. And he did that, and he let everybody know the real deal. He didn't hold nothing back. And he just said, hey, it's a lot of communication in it. And if you ain't down with the communication and the rules that go along with it, don't engage in it.
Right.
And that was real. So until next week, same time, same spot, YouTube, Facebook, check us out. We out.
We out of here. Peace.
Speak on it.